Picture this. The rap world is still reeling from their fiery lyrical battle. But now Drake and Kendrick Lamar's beef has taken a turn nobody could have predicted. Forget the diss tracks, forget the subliminals Drake is allegedly bringing. The drama out of the recording booth and straight into the courtroom. Yes, you heard that right. Word on the street is, Champagne Papi has decided the only way to shut down Kendrick's bar-for-bar assault is with a judge's gavel, not a microphone, according to whispers from close industry insiders and a Hada. Few mysteriously deleted social media posts. Drake has supposedly filed a legal complaint accusing Kendrick of defamation, creative sabotage, and get this, emotional distress. The move has left fans stunned and divided. On one side, supporters claim Drake is finally protecting his brand, while others are dragging him online, calling it the softest move in hip-hop history, and the drama doesn't stop there. Rumors suggest Kendrick has already hit back behind the scenes, assembling a legal team of his own and preparing for what some are calling the biggest courtroom showdown in rap since the 90s. With careers, reputations, and millions on the line, this isn't just a rap beef anymore, it's a legal war. And the stakes? Higher than ever. The whispers started quietly, like smoke curling from under a closed door. At first, nobody could believe it. Drake, the man who built an empire out of smooth verses and calculated clapbacks, was supposedly taking Kendrick Lamar to court. The industry grapevine said it wasn't just some idle threat either. Papers had been filed. Names had been named. The kind of legal language that can turn a rap battle into a financial bloodbath was now on the record. And suddenly, what began as lyrical jabs over beats had evolved into something much colder, much sharper. Something that couldn't be erased. With a clever line in a song, it all started after Kendrick's last track dropped. A fiery, razor-edged verse that didn't just take shots at Drake's artistry but supposedly hinted at deeply personal matters. Fans claim they heard references to Drake's family, his son, and even whispered allegations about behind-the-scenes deals gone wrong. The track went viral in hours, not just for its bars, but for the sheer audacity of its tone. And while the internet was busy dissecting every syllable, Drake's team was allegedly in conference rooms, flipping through printed screenshots, listening to the track on loop, and quietly strategizing their next move. People close to Drake claimed he was livid. Not the type of anger that burns bright and fades away, but the slow, seething kind that makes every word calculated. According to one source, he sat at the head of a long oak table in his Toronto home, flanked by his legal advisors, his manager, and a few trusted friends. The air was thick with tension. One of his lawyers leaned forward, tapping his stack of documents and saying, "This isn't just music, Aubrey. These are accusations that could hurt your brand for years." Drake reportedly nodded slowly, his jaw tight, before saying, "If he wants to play this game, we'll play it where I know he can't freestyle his way out." Meanwhile, Kendrick's camp was anything but quiet. Word leaked that he had heard about the supposed legal move almost as soon as it was being drafted. Some say he laughed when he got the news. Others say he simply shook his head, muttering something about paperwork not stopping the truth. Whatever the truth was, he didn't back down. In fact, insiders claim he started gathering his own legal team not to settle, but to fight. And in the court of public opinion, that's when the lines were drawn. Social media became a war zone. Drake's fans accused Kendrick of crossing lines you don't cross in music. Kendrick's fans fired back, mocking Drake for running to the law instead of the mic. But here's where things started getting messy. Someone leaked an alleged text exchange between the two. In it, Drake supposedly sent a short, clipped message. "You'll regret this." Kendrick's reply? "Only if you can prove it." Screenshots of this exchange hit Twitter and Instagram like wildfire, and soon everyone had an opinion. Was it real? Was it a stunt? Or was it part of a bigger, behind-the-scenes plot to keep both rappers in the headlines while they worked on new albums? Friends of both men began to get pulled into the storm. One of Drake's oldest collaborators, who had stayed quiet for years, suddenly went live on Instagram, clearly frustrated. "Y'all don't know half of what's going on," he said, pacing back and forth. "This isn't just about rap. This is about trust. This is about loyalty. And when that's broken, you don't just drop a song, you drop everything." Fans immediately began speculating about what everything meant. Was there a buried secret? A past deal between The two that had gone sour? At the same time, the legal world was starting to take notice. High-profile entertainment lawyers began giving cryptic interviews, hinting at the possible scale of the case. One said, "If these claims are true, we're not just talking about defamation. We're talking about contractual interference, breach of confidence, maybe even fraud." That word fraud lit up hip-hop media like gasoline on an open flame. Suddenly, every outlet wanted to be the first to find the smoking gun. Behind closed doors, Drake's inner circle was pushing him to think about the optics. Filing a lawsuit in the middle of a rap feud wasn't just a legal move, it was a statement. It said in no uncertain terms that this was no longer just music. One of his producers allegedly warned him, this is gonna split the culture, right? Half the people will see you as smart, half will see you as scared. Drake's response was calm, almost cold. Let them see what they want. When the dust settles, only one of us will still have the crown. And then came the first real twist. A tabloid claimed to have obtained part of the legal filing. In it, there was an explosive allegation that Kendrick had been deliberately spreading misinformation to damage Drake's professional relationships and financial opportunities. The document supposedly cited unnamed industry figures who had backed out of collaborations with Drake after hearing Kendrick's verse. This wasn't just personal, it was business sabotage. The revelation sent shockwaves through both fanbases. With some calling it the nuclear option of rap beef, Kendrick's team responded, if the reports are to be believed, with a sharply worded statement that didn't just deny the claims, but dared Drake to take the stand and testify himself. "Truth doesn't fear the courtroom," the statement read, and within hours, it was being quoted everywhere from music blogs to mainstream news sites. Fans began counting down the days until the supposed court date, even though no official confirmation had been given. Meanwhile, the tension spilled into public appearances. At an awards show in Los Angeles, Drake walked the red carpet wearing an all-black suit, expression unreadable. When a reporter asked about the lawsuit, he smiled faintly and said, "Sometimes the pen is sharper than the sword." Across the country, Kendrick appeared at a charity event, telling a crowd, "You can't sue the truth. You can only try to hide from it." The jabs were no longer just in songs, they were everywhere. By the end of that week, every conversation in the music world seemed to circle back to the same question: how far would this go? Would Drake really follow through, risking the backlash from purists who believe rap battles should stay on wax? Would Kendrick stand firm, or would the threat of millions in damages make him think twice? One thing was certain, this was no longer a fight that could be settled with a verse, and just as the industry began to brace for the next move, a rumor started spreading that someone from Kendrick's camp was ready to talk. Not in court, not to lawyers, but to the media. The rumor about someone from Kendrick's camp being ready to talk was like throwing gasoline on an already raging fire. Nobody knew who it was at first, just that it was supposedly someone who had been close to the rapper for years, someone who had seen things most fans could only guess at. The gossip mill went into overdrive. Names were thrown around, wild theories were posted on fan forums, and every hip-hop podcast was suddenly promising exclusive scoops. Then, it happened. A grainy, shaky video appeared on social media late one night, showing a man in a hoodie sitting in the back seat of a car. His voice was disguised, but the details he dropped were chilling. He claimed that Kendrick's verse wasn't just a random diss, it was based on information that Drake had desperately wanted to keep buried. He thought the beef was about rhymes, the man said, but Kendrick, he was aiming for something bigger. Within hours, the video had gone viral, but just as quickly as it appeared, it vanished, deleted from every major platform. Some said it was pulled for legal reasons, others whispered that Drake's legal team had been working overtime to erase it from the internet. The takedown only fueled more speculation, with fans insisting there must have been some truth to it. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the alleged lawsuit was moving forward. Insiders claimed Drake's lawyers had sent formal notices to streaming platforms, demanding that Kendrick's track be removed due to defamatory content. The move sent shockwaves through the industry. Nobody could remember a time when a rap beef had escalated to the point where songs were being legally threatened. Kendrick's reaction was pure defiance. In a private listening session for close friends and collaborators, He reportedly played an unreleased track one that doubled down on the allegations. "If they take one down, I'll drop 2 more." He supposedly told the room, and laughter erupted around him. But there was an edge in his voice, a challenge aimed straight at Drake's camp. The public began to notice the fallout too. A major clothing brand that had been rumored to partner with Drake suddenly announced they were postponing their campaign. The official statement cited scheduling conflicts, but gossip sites quickly connected the dots, suggesting that the controversy was making corporate sponsors nervous. This was exactly the kind of financial damage Drake's lawsuit was said to be targeting, and then came the leak. Somehow, a partial copy of Drake's alleged court filing found its way to a popular entertainment blog. The document contained bold claims that Kendrick's words had intentionally painted a false and damaging narrative, which had led to the loss of multiple high-value contracts and irreparable harm to public image. One paragraph stood out, quoted in every article. The defendant's actions were not artistic expression, but calculated malice. Kendrick's fans didn't take it lying down. Hashtags mocking Drake began trending within hours. Memes flooded social media, painting him as a rapper who couldn't handle competition without calling in the lawyers. But there were plenty who sided with Drake too, arguing that no one, no matter how famous, should get away with making damaging personal claims under the guise of music. As the online war intensified, both rappers began pulling their friends into the fray. An old collaborator of Kendrick's tweeted, "Some people think they're untouchable until the judge calls their name." In response, one of Drake's producers posted, "Funny how the loudest ones go quiet when they get that subpoena." These little jabs kept the headlines alive day after day. But in the middle of all the public chaos, there were whispers about private negotiations. A music executive who had worked with both artists claimed they had been approached by mutual acquaintances, trying to broker peace. "They're talking about a possible settlement," the executive told a podcast host. But the problem is, neither one wants to be the one who backs down first. This fragile behind-the-scenes diplomacy was shattered when a new twist emerged. Anonymous email was sent to several major news outlets, allegedly containing audio recordings of a heated phone call between Drake and Kendrick. In the clip, which quickly circulated online, a voice said to be Drake's could be heard saying, "You went too far, man. You know what you said isn't true." The other voice, supposedly Kendrick's, shot back, "Truth hurts. And if you can't handle it, maybe you shouldn't be in the game." The leak ignited yet another firestorm. If the call was real, it proved that Drake had confronted Kendrick directly before going to court. If it was fake, it showed just how far some people were willing to go to stir the pot. Either way, the tension was reaching a breaking point. Now, even people outside the hip-hop world were paying attention. Talk show hosts were cracking jokes about the case. Late-night comedians were writing skits about Drake showing up to court in designer suits, while Kendrick freestyled his testimony. It had officially crossed over into pop culture territory. And yet, under all the laughs and memes, the stakes were deadly serious. This wasn't just about music anymore, it was about reputations, careers, and millions of dollars. Every move mattered. Every leak, every post, every public statement could be used in court. That's why when a surprising new piece of evidence surfaced, one that could change the entire course of the case, both camps went into lockdown. The surprising new piece of evidence wasn't some casual rumor this time, it was a bombshell. Late one Friday night, a small but well-connected hip-hop news site claimed they had obtained internal emails from a record label executive. The emails, if authentic, suggested that Kendrick had received privately sourced information about Drake from a mutual acquaintance in the industry. Even worse, one line allegedly hinted that this information might have been exaggerated or embellished for artistic purposes. That phrase, "embellished for artistic purposes," blew the conversation wide open. If it was true, it could undermine Kendrick's entire defense that his verses were based on truth. Lawyers on talk radio immediately began speculating that this could hand Drake a massive legal advantage. If you can prove intentional embellishment, one legal analyst explained, you're looking at the difference between protected free speech and actionable defamation. Drake's camp wasted no time seizing on the moment. Within hours, a statement appeared on a major entertainment site attributed to his attorney. It read, "Recent developments only confirm what we have maintained. From the start, this is not art, it is calculated harm." The statement didn't name Kendrick directly, but everyone knew who it was aimed at. Kendrick's side, however, fired back with equal force. A spokesperson for the rapper dismissed the email leak as selective, misleading, and lacking full context. They insisted that whatever communication had been exchanged, it didn't change the fact that Kendrick's verses were rooted in his perspective and lived experience, and that artistic expression cannot be litigated away. Fans on both sides doubled down, each more convinced their chosen artist was the one in the right. Behind the scenes, the pressure was becoming unbearable. People who had been neutral in the industry were now being forced to pick a side. Collaborations were being quietly canceled, joint appearances were being rescheduled, and streaming services were reportedly bracing for potential takedown. Requests of the court battle escalated. One incident in particular sent shockwaves through the fanbase. At a high-profile after-party in Miami, witnesses claimed Drake and Kendrick ended up in the same room purely by accident. The tension was so thick that conversations reportedly stopped the moment they made eye contact. A DJ, sensing the energy, switched the track mid-song, but it didn't help. According to one person there, Drake walked over to Kendrick, looked him dead in the eye, and said quietly, "This is the last time we're in the same room until court." Kendrick, without missing a beat, replied, "Make sure you're ready when we get there." The exchange spread online like wildfire, even though no one had recorded it. The idea of the two men facing off in person without beats, without cameras, was irresistible to fans and journalists alike. Memes popped up overnight showing mock courtroom battles, with Drake in an expensive suit and Kendrick in a hoodie, each one armed with stacks of lyrics instead of legal briefs. But the humor masked a deeper truth. This was getting uglier by the day. A source close to Drake claimed he was laser-focused on the case now, even cutting back on public appearances to avoid giving Kendrick's team any fresh material. Kendrick, on the other hand, seemed to thrive under the pressure. He appeared on a live-streamed Q&A session where a fan asked about the lawsuit. His response was a sly smile and the words, "We'll see who's still talking when the verdict drops." The internet exploded. Clips of that moment were everywhere, dissected frame by frame. Was he confident because he knew something we didn't? Or was it just bravado to keep the hype alive? No one could tell for sure, but it kept the tension alive and the narrative moving. Then came another twist. An anonymous package was reportedly delivered to a journalist known for breaking big entertainment scandals. Inside were what appeared to be handwritten notes from a songwriting session. The notes, allegedly from Kendrick's own pad, contained crossed-out lines that hinted at far more damaging claims than what had actually made it into the diss track. If authentic, they could prove that Kendrick had intentionally held back certain allegations, but also that he'd been willing to go much further. This revelation split the fanbase again. Drake's supporters saw it as proof that Kendrick had been crafting a targeted attack from the start. Kendrick's fans argued it showed restraint that he could have destroyed Drake entirely, but chose not to. Industry insiders began to whisper that both sides might be walking into a mutually assured destruction scenario where even if one won in court, both would come out damaged in the eyes of the public. Yet neither seemed willing to blink. First up, by this point, the rumored court date was only weeks away, and every headline seemed to be another step toward a full-blown media circus. Reporters were already camping outside the courthouse, hoping to catch either artist arriving for preliminary hearings, and just when it seemed like nothing else could make this story any bigger, another leak hit the internet. This one was different. It wasn't a document, an email, or a whispered quote. It was a video, and what it showed could change everything. The video appeared without warning, no teaser, no cryptic countdown, just a sudden drop on a small but notorious gossip account, known for never missing when it came to celebrity dirt. At first, people thought it was fake. The grainy footage showed a dimly lit backstage area, two men in hoodies standing close, their voices low but intense. As the camera adjusted, the faces became clear. It was Drake and Kendrick, in the same room months before the beef went public. Conversation was short, but every word was explosive. Drake's voice was calm but heavy. "If you go through with this, it's gonna get ugly." Kendrick's reply came fast, almost like he'd been waiting for it. "Ugly's the only way the truth comes out." The clip ended there, but the damage was instant. Social media lit up with people claiming this was proof the beef had been personal from the start, not just some Random lyrical sparring match. The timing of the leak was suspicious. It came just days before the supposed pretrial hearing, and both camps reacted in near-perfect synchronization. Drake's lawyers issued a statement condemning illegally obtained and misleading media, while Kendrick's team accused Drake of trying to shift the narrative from his own misconduct. The back and forth was now so rapid that fans joked it felt like watching a tennis match where each serve was a bombshell, but the most telling reaction came from inside the industry. Several major artists who had previously stayed out of the drama began to pick sides publicly. A chart-topping R&B singer posted a story with the caption, "Truth don't need a lawyer," clearly aimed at Drake. Hours later, a legendary producer posted a picture of himself in the studio with Drake, tagging it "Loyalty Runs Deep." As the hearing date approached, the anticipation reached fever pitch. Media crews set up outside the courthouse days in advance. Merch vendors even started selling Team Drake and Team Kendrick shirts, as if this were a championship fight. The morning of the hearing was chaos. Cameras flashed as Drake arrived first, stepping out of a black SUV in a perfectly tailored gray suit, expression unreadable. Minutes later, Kendrick appeared in a simple black hoodie and jeans, walking past reporters without a word. Fans screamed from both sides of the barricades, their chants mixing into an overwhelming wall of noise. Inside, the atmosphere was just as tense. While the public couldn't see what happened in the closed session, leaks began trickling out within hours. One source claimed Drake's team presented undeniable evidence of intentional defamation. Another said Kendrick's lawyers argued that Drake was trying to turn a rap battle into a courtroom cash grab. The hearing ended without a decision, but the judge reportedly warned both parties to be mindful of their public conduct before the trial officially began. That vague statement was all it took to set off another round of speculation. What did it mean? Was the judge hinting that the case could go either way? After the session, both men left separately, neither answering questions. But Kendrick did. Something that had everyone talking. He posted a single sentence on his social media. The truth's already out there. No context, no hashtag, nothing else. Within minutes, it was trending worldwide. Drake didn't post anything publicly. But a few hours later, one of his closest friends shared a photo of them together, smiling in what looked like a recording studio. The caption read, "Making history in more ways than one." Some fans took it as a hint that Drake was planning a lyrical counterattack alongside his legal one. That night, every major entertainment show and hip-hop podcast ran the same headline. Drake versus Kendrick rap beef enters its final chapter. But nobody could say for sure how it would end. Would the trial expose secrets neither side wanted aired? Would one of them fold under the weight of the pressure? Or would they both walk away scorched, their feud forever a cautionary tale in the industry? One thing was certain, this was no longer just about bars, beats, or even reputation. This was about legacy. And neither man looked ready to lose. And so here we are, two of the biggest names in rap, locked in a battle that's gone far beyond the mic. What started as a lyrical clash has spiraled into leaked videos, alleged backroom deals, courtroom tension, and an entire culture divided right down the middle. Drake and Kendrick aren't just fighting for bragging rights anymore. They're fighting for how the world will remember them. The courtroom date looms like a storm on the horizon. Will Drake's legal strategy prove that Kendrick crossed the line from art into calculated sabotage? Or will Kendrick stand his ground and expose something that could shake Drake's empire to its core? No matter which way it goes, one thing's for sure: when that verdict drops, it will send shockwaves through the music industry for years to come, and that's where you come in. I want to know exactly what you think. Whose side are you on in this high-stakes showdown? Do you believe Drake is right to take it to the courts, or should he have kept it on wax? Is Kendrick a truth teller or just a master provocateur? Drop your take in the comments right now and join the conversation that has the entire hip-hop world talking. If you've been hooked on every twist and turn of this saga, make sure you hit that like button so more people can dive into this drama. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because trust me, this story is far from over. When the next twist drops, you'll want to be here first. This is rap history unfolding in real time. And your front row.